That night, Meiyue sat beside her bedroom window. Snow drifted quietly through the darkness. The village looked peaceful. But she no longer trusted peaceful things. Then, she saw movement. Far beyond the houses, beyond the forest, near the hills. A faint light, moving through the snow. A lantern. The same lantern she had seen 3 years ago. Meiyue's heart raced. She quickly grabbed her coat. If Lan Lan was truly alive, then perhaps the answers were waiting beyond that light. Without waking her parents, she slipped outside. The snow crunched beneath her boots. The lantern drifted deeper into the forest, always just ahead, always leading her onward. The trees grew thicker. The air grew colder. The village disappeared behind her. Soon only silence remained. Then she heard it. A voice. Weak. Faint. Broken. Meiyue ran. Branches whipped against her face. Snow scattered beneath her feet. The voice grew louder. Closer. Closer. And then, she stopped. Before her stood a rusted iron gate hidden beneath tangled vines and frozen branches. A place she had never seen before. A place that should not have existed. A place buried deep within the forest. Behind the gate stretched a narrow path. And beyond that path, rows of strange winter trees. Their branches hung heavy with silver bells. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. All ringing softly in the darkness. Ding. 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 Then she heard it. Not one voice. Not two. But dozens. Children crying. Children whispering. Children calling for help. Meiyue slowly pushed the gate open. The hinges groaned. The bells suddenly fell silent. Every single one. At once. And from somewhere deep within the frozen darkness, a woman's voice whispered, "You shouldn't have come here." The forest became silent. Too silent. Even the wind seemed afraid to enter this place. Meiyue stood frozen before the iron gate. Beyond it stretched rows of pale winter trees decorated with hundreds of silver bells. None of them moved. None of them rang. They simply watched. Like eyes. The voice came again. Soft. Cold. Almost sad. "You should have stayed home, little one." Meiyue knew that voice. "Madam Bai." "Lan Lan." Meiyue shouted. "Where is she?" No answer. Only silence. Gathering her courage, Meiyue stepped through the gate. The moment she crossed the threshold, a strange feeling washed over her. The air became heavier, older, as though she had stepped into another world. The deeper she walked, the more bells she saw. Some hung from branches. Some hung from fences. Some were buried beneath snow. And every bell had a name carved into it. Children's names. Meiyue stopped. Her heart sank. There it was. One small bell, covered in frost. Lan Lan. Her hands trembled. No. Suddenly she heard a faint cry. Not from above. From below. Meiyue knelt, brushed snow aside, and discovered a hidden wooden hatch buried beneath the frozen ground. The hatch was locked, but age had weakened it. After several hard pulls, crack, the lock broke. The hatch slowly opened. Cold air rushed upward. A staircase descended into darkness. And somewhere below, children were crying. Meiyue grabbed a lantern hanging nearby and carefully descended. Step, step, step. The stairs seemed endless. The deeper she went, the colder it became. Then she reached the bottom, and what she saw stole her breath. Rows of small beds filled the underground chamber. Dozens of children slept beneath thick blankets. Some looked healthy. Some looked weak. Some appeared to have been sleeping for years. But they were alive. Every single one of them. Alive. Tears filled Meiyue's eyes. "They're here." Then she saw her. Near the far wall. Curled beneath a blanket. A familiar face. Older. Thinner. But familiar. Lan Lan. Lan Lan. Slowly, the girl opened her eyes. For a moment she looked confused, as though she were dreaming. Then recognition appeared. "Meiyue?" The two girls stared at each other. 3 years. 3 years of fear. 3 years of grief. 3 years of wondering, gone in a single moment. Meiyue rushed forward. Lan Lan burst into tears. The girls embraced tightly. Neither wanted to let go. "I knew you were alive," Meiyue whispered. "I knew it." Lan Lan cried harder. "I thought nobody would find us." Around them, other children slowly began waking. Watching. Listening. Hoping. Then Lan Lan's smile vanished. Fear filled her face. "Run." Meiyue blinked. "What?" Lan Lan grabbed her arm. Her voice shook. "Run." The lantern suddenly went out. Darkness swallowed the chamber. One by one. Every flame died. A bell rang above them. Ding. Then another. Ding. And another. ding, ding, ding. The entire underground chamber began shaking. Dust fell from the ceiling. Children screamed. Beds overturned. The walls cracked. And then, a voice echoed from everywhere. You found them, Madam Bai. The old woman's voice sounded different now. Deeper. Older. Monstrous. Lanlin's face turned pale. She's coming. The ceiling exploded. Roots burst through stone and earth. Massive roots. Twisting. Writhing. Alive. Children screamed. Meiyue grabbed Lan, trying to protect her. Then the roots parted, creating a path. A throne of tangled wood rose from the darkness, and seated upon it was Madam Bai, but she no longer looked human. Not completely. Her skin resembled pale bark. Cracks spread across her face. Silver roots grew through her hair. Red ornaments hung from her sleeves. Tiny bells dangled from her fingers, ringing softly. Ding, ding, ding. The children trembled. Even Meiyue struggled to breathe. The creature before them felt ancient, like a nightmare older than history itself. Madam Bai slowly stood. Her eyes settled on Meiyue, and for a brief moment, sadness appeared. You should never have come. Meiyue clenched her fists. You took them. I saved them. What? Madam Bai looked around the chamber, at the children, at the sleeping beds, at the roots. The world would have forgotten them. Her voice softened. I kept them. For the first time, the monster didn't sound cruel. She sounded lonely, terribly lonely. Then her eyes returned to Meiyue, and the loneliness disappeared, replaced by hunger. Especially you. The bell suddenly rang. All at once, hundreds, thousands. The entire farm echoed with their song. Ding, 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 ding. Madam Bai smiled, and her smile revealed what she truly was, the Christmas child. Roots erupted from every direction, wrapping around Meiyue, lifting her into the air. The children screamed. Lan cried out, but nobody could stop it. Madam Bai stepped closer. Her eyes were glowing. For 3 years, she reached toward Meiyue's face. I waited. The bells screamed louder. The roots tightened. The farm shook violently. And somewhere above, snow began falling harder than ever before. Madam Bai whispered, now show me your soul. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the darkness. Calm, cold, dangerous. That won't be happening. Madam Bai froze. For the first time in centuries, fear crossed her face, because she recognized that voice. Meiyue smiled. Not frightened, not helpless, smiled. And the monster realized something terrible. Something she should have understood long ago. She was not the only hunter in this forest. Madam Bai finally realizes she may have been lured into revealing herself, and the people she thought were prey may have been hunting her all along. The underground farm trembled. Roots twisted through the stone walls. Bells screamed from every branch above. The children huddled together in fear, and for the first time in centuries, Madam Bai felt something she had not felt in a very long time. Uncertainty. The voice echoed again through the darkness. Calm, steady, dangerous. Release our daughter. A lantern suddenly ignited. Then another. Then another. Golden light flooded the chamber, and standing at the bottom of the staircase were Meiyue's parents. Gone were the frightened expressions they wore in public. Gone were the worried faces. Gone were the helpless parents. Now they looked like warriors. Meiyue's mother carried a long case usually used for sewing supplies. Her father held the simple walking staff he carried every day, the same staff everyone believed belonged to an ordinary villager. Madam Bai stared, then slowly smiled. I knew it. The monster's voice echoed through the chamber. There was always something strange about your family. Meiyue's father stepped forward. And there was always something strange about you. The roots tightened around Meiyue. Madam Bai's eyes narrowed. So the association finally found me. The children looked confused. Lan blinked. Association? Hunters? What was happening? Then Meiyue's mother opened her sewing case. Inside were no needles, no thread, no fabric, only weapons, silver talismans, runic charms, spiritual blades, ancient seals. The children gasped. Lanlin's eyes nearly popped from her head. You've been hunters this whole time? Meiyue laughed despite being trapped. I wanted to tell you. Lan stared. You wanted to tell me? Mother said I wasn't allowed. Even her father almost smiled. For one brief moment, the tension broke. Then the bell screamed again, and the monster attacked. Thousands of roots exploded from the ground, like serpents, like spears, like living nightmares. Meiyue's father slammed his staff against the floor. Boom! A shockwave erupted through the chamber. Several roots shattered instantly. The wooden staff cracked apart. revealing a gleaming silver spear hidden inside. Madam Bai's smile vanished. You came prepared. We've been preparing for 3 years. The monster finally understood. The sewing shop, the move to the village, the constant observations, the questions, the patience, everything had been a trap, and she had walked directly into it. But Madam Bai was not defeated yet. Far from it. The chamber shook violently, the walls burst apart, the ceiling collapsed, and the entire underground farm began transforming. Roots erupted everywhere, walls became bark, stone became wood. The chamber itself was becoming part of the monster. Children screamed. Lin grabbed Meiyue's hand. What do we do? Meiyue looked toward her parents, and then, her father nodded. The signal. For years they had prepared for this moment. For years Meiyue had trained, not as a victim, not as bait, but as a hunter. Suddenly her frightened expression disappeared. Madam Bai froze. The little girl she'd believed was helpless, was smiling, a hunter's smile. Meiyue looked directly into the monster's eyes. You finally showed us your roots. Madam Bai's face changed. For the first time, true fear appeared, because she understood what those words meant. They knew her weakness, they knew where her true root was hidden. And if they found it, she would die. The monster roared. The sound shook the entire forest. Above ground, snowstorms erupted across Willow Creek. Windows shattered, trees bent, the bells rang wildly. Madam Bai's human disguise completely disappeared. Her body expanded. Branches burst from her back. Roots tore through the earth. Silver bark covered her skin. Red ornaments glowed like eyes. Thousands of bells hung from her limbs. At the center of her chest, a massive glowing root pulsed like a heart. The true root, her life. Every hunter knew the rule. Destroy the root, destroy the monster. Madam Bai realized they had seen it, and panic consumed her. The monster who had hunted children for centuries was now the prey. The final battle had begun. The entire forest became a battlefield. Roots crashed through trees. Snow exploded into the air. The bells screamed without stopping. But something unexpected happened. The children began waking. One by one, the monster was weakening. And as her strength faded, the life force she had stolen started returning. Lin stood, then another child stood, then another, and another. Dozens of children, weak, shaking, but alive. And together, they remembered the fear, the loneliness, the years stolen from them. Lin looked toward Meiyue, then stepped forward. No more. The other children joined her. No more. Their voices echoed through the farm, growing louder, growing stronger. No more. For the first time, the monster faced not one hunter, but every child she had ever imprisoned. And suddenly, the bells began breaking. Crack, crack, crack. Thousands shattered. Madam Bai screamed, because each bell contained stolen life force, and that power was returning to its rightful owners. The ancient creature stumbled, weaker, smaller, afraid. Then Meiyue ran, straight toward the glowing root. Madam Bai reached for her. No, but her father blocked the roots. Her mother sealed the branches. The children held their ground. For the first time in centuries, the monster stood alone. Madam Bai looked at Meiyue, and for a moment, the hunger disappeared. Only sadness remained. You were my favorite. Meiyue stopped, not because she pitied her, but because she understood. The creature had been lonely, terribly lonely. But loneliness did not excuse what she had done. Meiyue raised the hunter's blade, and spoke softly. Then you should have chosen kindness. The blade fell. The glowing root split in two. The bells stopped ringing. Silence. For one long moment, nothing happened. Then the Christmas root shattered. Light erupted into the sky. Thousands of glowing spirits rose upward like winter stars. The spirits of stolen years. The memories she had taken. The lives she had damaged. Finally free. As dawn arrived, the snow stopped falling, for the first time in years, and Willow Creek saw the sun. The missing children returned home. Parents cried. Families reunited. The village celebrated. Lin's parents nearly collapsed when they saw their daughter running toward them, and Lin cried harder than anyone. But heroes rarely stay. A week later, Meiyue and her parents packed their belongings. The sewing shop closed, the cart was loaded, and the family quietly left Willow Creek behind. Days later, they arrived in another village. A frightened elder ran toward them, breathless, terrified. Please help us. What's happening? The elder swallowed hard. Elderly people are disappearing. The family exchanged a glance, the same glance they always shared, the glance that meant another monster, another hunt. Meiyue smiled, then climbed back into the cart. Looks like we're not finished yet. The wheels rolled forward, and somewhere in the distance, another monster was waiting. The next hunt begins.